In today's show, we're going to look ahead to week 4 in the NBA, a weekly preview show, Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I am the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com. And you can find me on Twitter as always at redrock_bball and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. First time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code Locked On. That's prizepicks.com. The promo code is Locked On. Thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free and we are available on all platforms. We're going to look ahead to week 4 in the NBA. Daily changes lineups, weekly changes lineups, how the schedule aligns, talking about all of that stuff. But if you do want to help me in my quest to raise funds for men's mental health awareness and treatment, suicide prevention, prostate cancer research and treatment, and testicular cancer treatment and research, and all other men's health issues, I'm growing this mustache. Now, if you donate, I can't promise you a mustache ride. Can't rule it out. But you're going to see this thing develop. It's going to look great. It's going to look awesome. And you're also going to be donating to a great cause. There is a link in the description of this show, whether that is on YouTube or whether it is in audio form. You'll find that link there. Or you can go to movember.org.au and search my name to donate. Thank you to everyone who has donated so far. It's been awesome. We have hit over $1,000 so far, which my goal was 500, and we are 6 days in to the month, and we've hit it already. So that is awesome. So thank you to everyone. We're just going to keep going, keep rolling. Keep getting those donations in because I do think it is a very good cause. We're going to talk week 4 in the NBA, so let's have a look at how it all shakes out, Warnie.
Let's get it on, Gilly.
All right. Yes, it's a weird week. Yes, it's a weird schedule. And I know your question is going to be, why are we getting 15 games on Monday and 0 on Tuesday? And I'll tell you why. On Tuesday, in America, the United States of America, the USA, good old USA, Tuesday is election day. Now, I have no idea why Americans have elections on a Tuesday. We have them on Saturday. Seems to make sense when there are fewer people working and it's a lot easier to get to vote. But whatever, that's fine. You have it on Tuesday. There's been a push for a while, I believe, in the US to make election day a public holiday to get more people the ability to get out and vote. And the NBA has just said, basically, we want to encourage people to vote. So, yes, having this situation where they don't play games is, you've only got 450 players in the NBA. Is that really a big difference? It's not just about that. It's about all of the employees, arena employees, team employees, everyone having the day off, increasing the vote. But it's also bringing awareness to it, saying, hey, we're not going to work on this day. We think voting is important. So we want actual other companies and maybe push for legislation changes to make it a holiday so that people can go and vote. And yes, NBA games take place at night after polls have closed. I know that. But it's about showing that they believe that it should be more accessible and showing that they believe that it should be pushed in more areas to make it a holiday so that people aren't working on that day. And again, NBA games aren't just like at 7 o'clock we start. Like preparations and all that stuff happens all throughout the day. So that is why we have a 0-game Tuesday. It's for election day. It's not just to allow team officials and players the opportunity to vote. It's to show that they believe that there should be more of an opportunity for people to vote by pushing to make that more of a holiday across the country. That's done. So therefore, to make up for it, we've got some absolutely ball-bursting Mondays and Wednesdays. Every single NBA team plays on Monday. RIP streaming. No chance of streaming. 15 games on. And then we've got 13 games on Wednesday. So that is an absolute nutbuster of a beginning of the week. So basically, the first 3 days of the week, there is no streaming value whatsoever. 15 games, 0 games, 13 games. It's a weird week. That's how it is. But then, we love the rest of it. 4 games on Thursday, 8 games on Friday, 8 games on Saturday, 7 games on Sunday. An 8-game day is the perfect amount. I love an 8-game day. 7 to 9 is the perfect day for absorbing what's going on, for me having stuff to talk about, for you having plenty of spots on your fantasy roster. If they just did 7 a day every week, I'd love it. Rather than 12 and 2 and 13 and 1 and whatever nonsense they do. But that end of the week is a real perfect run at things in terms of how I like the schedule to look. But, the NBA doesn't care what I think, but that's how I like it. Let's take a look at how that breaks down in terms of amount of games played. No 2-game weeks. That's great. We had a lot of them this week. None of them next week. And the vast majority, 67%, 2/3 exactly, play 4 games. 20 teams play 4 games next week. So the majority of our players are playing 4 games. So when you're looking at weekly leagues, and we'll talk about them later, and you're making start-sit decisions, it's going to be a lot of them based on volume. 3-game guys we sit, 4-game guys we play. The 10 teams that play 3 games, the Bucks, the Heat, the Suns, the Clippers, the Warriors, the Spurs, the Pacers, the Bulls, the Rockets, and the Magic have 3 games. Therefore, the other 20 teams that I did not mention, they all play 4 games for this upcoming week. So, how do we stream it? This is Daily Changes League. Streaming. Daily Changes Leagues. I'm not going to define streaming again. We're streaming Thursday through Sunday. Can't do it Monday. Can't do it Wednesday. Can't do it Tuesday because no one plays. So we're going to stream Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 4 streaming days. Other weeks I've had 5. We got 4 this week. Only 2 teams play 3 quality games. It's the Sixers. Awesome stuff. If you've got a DeAnthony Melton, value maybe if Embiid is out for maybe Montrezl Harrell or Paul Reed, but even deeper leagues you're looking at Georgie Niang, maybe Daniel House, maybe very deep leagues for old mate Shake Milton. And then it's the Wizards with 3 games. So their roster's a shit show. Their rotations are annoying, but that means you've got Anthony Gill, Denny Avdia, Farton, Will Barton.
No, you will! No, he's ready to sack that. Run, Will! Give it off quick!
There's even the return of Corey Kispert, who could provide value. Because remember, these guys aren't particularly good. But if you can use someone like Will Barton 3 times during the week, Denny Avdia 3 times during the week, Corey Kispert 3 times during the week, versus having a Pacers fringe player, Chris Duarte, or maybe you've got a Bulls fringe player, Alex Caruso, where you use him once, the 3 games wins out. Is 3 games of Ayo Dosunmu, who maybe he's in your best 10 players on Monday, maybe he is on Wednesday, but maybe he isn't. So it's 1 game of him worth more than 3 of Will Barton. I wouldn't drop Dosunmu for Barton, but that's just a name that I brought up. But let's do Patrick Williams instead of Dosunmu, who's become a solid ad. If you are chasing wins in week 4, and we're getting more to the stage of the season, we're not quite there yet, where chasing wins, especially if you've struggled early on, becomes more important. I still think we should be having a longer term view. But if you wanted to do it, like a 3 game of Will Barton, a 3 game of Denny Avdia is worth more than 1 usable game of Patrick Williams. 30 minutes of Williams, you might get 70 minutes of Will Barton. All right, and that's an obvious trade-off. And you need to establish if that makes sense for your own team, whether you do that or not. Out of the 3-game teams, again, not every schedule is built the same. The Heat and Warriors have 2 quality games. So the 2 games of Warriors, 2 games of the Heat, is the same as the Hornets schedule for quality games of the Jazz. Or basically every team, every 4-game team, apart from the Sixers and the Wizards. So 18 4-game teams play 2 quality games. The same as the Warriors and the Heat, but it looks worse because they play 3. Now, I know that Steve Kerr was talking about, man, we're going to give John Kuminga minutes. He's going to be in the rotation. Do not add him, please, for the love of God. Please do not add him in 12 or 14-team leagues. Again, I implore you, look at rotations. How the hell is he getting more than 17 minutes, even if he's back in the rotation? Maybe he takes JaMychal Green's minutes. There's 17 minutes. That's it. Do you actually care about that? No, you don't. He's not, while he's in the rotation, it's 28 minutes a night here. John Kuminga, it's absolutely not. Unless I am completely wrong and they play Jordan Poole 12 minutes a night and Wiseman's out of the rotation and they run a 7-man rotation. It's just not going to happen. So be really careful about reading those coaches' quotes and hearing. And look, the headline is, well, John Kuminga play well. He's going to be in the rotation. And then the comment is, if he continues to do things well, then he's got to realize that there's going to be nights where maybe he doesn't play. So, settle down. And the minutes back in the rotation might mean 12 minutes. So I know that's one, because I did see a headline somewhere, hey, man, Kuminga's back. Yeah, add him. No. I do not agree with that in the slightest. Because again, they have the 2 quality games this week, the Warriors. But 30 minutes of John Kuminga, 31 minutes of John Kuminga over the week. I'd rather 70 minutes of Corey Kispert. I mean, and remember, Don't fall. We see it's a constant lesson about how you consume basketball media or fantasy basketball media. They love to highlight the positives. Or, in the case of certain players, only focus on the negatives. They love to highlight the positives. Remember, we did this with Anthony Simons. Anthony Simons went crazy. He's on fire. 22 points in a quarter. And then he had 12 points the next game. Not a peep. No one talks about it. Right? And then Anthony Simons goes off because Lillard is out. And we talk about, man, he's going off. Yeah, but Lillard is out. Right? So there are always bits and pieces. And it makes me sound like the biggest downer, the biggest hater, because I'm just trying to pour water on all this shit. But it is important to know those things, or to pay attention to them at least. It's important to pay attention to PrizePicks because this is the way that you want to play daily fantasy. It is so easy to do. Like, you go in there, and instead of trying to create a lineup with salary caps and going up against thousands of people, you just go up against the player projections they put out there. They might have Corey Kispert over under 9.5 points. You go, all right, I'll throw that in my lineup. They might have John Kuminga over under 3.5 points. And you go, okay, I'll pick over under. I'll put that in my lineup. You go up to 5 of those individual player projections. You put them into a lineup. And you can win up to 10 times your entry fee. It is as simple as that. It can be done in under 60 seconds. And if you do win, the payouts are fast and safe as well. It's available in over 30 US states and in Canada. But of course, it's not just the NBA. We can look at minor sports like the NFL, Major League Baseball, Stanley Cup, boxing, PGA, college football, men's and women's college basketball, esports, NASCAR, the WNBA when that's on, tennis, and of course the big boy, disc golf. All of those sports are available over at PrizePicks.com. So download the PrizePicks app or go to the PrizePicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. I can see my nemesis word coming up here. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with a promo code locked on. If you deposit $100, PrizePicks will give you $100. If you deposit $50, PrizePicks will give you $50. Don't forget to enter promo code locked on and sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100. After you've done listening to Locked On Fantasy Basketball, check out Locked On Sports Today. It is our recap show, all of the action across the sports world in 22 minutes using the Locked On Fantasy, Locked On Podcast Network local experts. Let's look at back-to-backs. Bit of a weird one for the week. Again, it's a weird schedule week in general. Heading into next week, the Sunday of week 3, the Monday of week 4, we have got 8 teams actually, who have got their back-to-back. But remember, Monday, there's 15 games on. So is it actually even worth it? Probably not. But it is worth noting that it is the Raptors, without Pascal Siakam most likely, the Wizards, the Jazz, who may or may not sit Mike Conley. We'll watch that one. The Cavs, who are dealing with injuries to Garland and Mitchell. Let's watch that one. The Grizzlies, the Bulls. Is Zach LaVine going to play with his knees? Pop back up on the injury report. The Lakers, it appears that Davis and LeBron are going to play. And then there's the Clippers. Now, Kawhi's probably not going to play in either of them, but John Wall is going to be one of those guys who misses. But remember, we're not really gaining much from this because Monday has 15 games. So we're not adding someone on the Sunday and hoping they play on the Monday. It's probably not going to work out, is it? Obviously, there's no Monday-Tuesday back-to-back. Obviously, there's no point in a Monday-Wednesday pseudo back-to-back. And there's no real point in a Monday-Thursday pseudo back-to-back because, again, the Monday guys, there's so many players playing. So let's look at a wide-ranging, a long-standing, which in fantasy basketball, 5 days is a bloody long time. Maybe we look at a Sunday-Thursday back-to-back. We can add someone to end week 3. And then the next time there's really a usable slot, do they play again? And there is one team that fills that goal. And that is the Washington Wizards, a team with probably the worst combined combination of head coach and GM in the NBA. Yes, that is the team that I've been talking about. They are horrendous. But is there options there? Now, I don't trust Wes Unseld Jr. with his rotations at all. And as I've talked about, it could be Barton, could be Kispert, could be Avdia, could be bloody Rui Hachimura for all I know. But they are the team that if you wanted to add someone to end week 3, who then you can use to begin week 4, which, again, is on Thursday, for all intents and streaming purposes, the Wizards are the team. There is no Thursday, Friday back-to-back, which limits our streaming ability. Friday, Saturday, there are 3 teams. It's the Raptors. I don't expect back-to-backs there, but maybe Siakam remains out, or back-to-back sits. Boston. I wonder if Al Horford's back-to-back spasms will flare up again. Al Horford, he's going to play in back-to-backs, guys. I am going to play all back-to-backs. Every back-to-back so far, his back has flared up. Wow, what a shock. His back-to-back spasms just happened to occur on the back-to-backs that he told us that he was going to play. You wouldn't read about it. The odds are astronomically high that would happen, but as chance and fate and the powers of Scorpio and Capricorn would have it, Al Horford is going to be sitting another back-to-back. Does he sit this one Friday, Saturday next week? I don't know. The odds? Well, he's considering he's going to play every back-to-back. You'd say he plays, but of course he won't. The Pistons, they have anyone that's going to sit out? I don't know. Not really anyone that's coming to mind. The Saturday, Sunday back-to-back. There's 4 teams who have that weekend back-to-back. It's the Jazz, it's the Nets, it's the Sixers and the Wizards. The Jazz, we watch the Conley situation. The Nets, we watch to see Ben Simmons, if he returns from the knee problem, is he going to play? Is Seth Curry going to play those? I expect Joe Harris to play, but I don't know. And then, if we head from week 4 into week 5, there are 2 teams who have the Sunday-Monday combo. It's the Warriors, and it is the Oklahoma City Thunder. So streaming this week is difficult. There's no real clear, thought-out plan. You can stream daily. If you've got 4 ads, you can stream daily. Add someone Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's the easy way to do it. It doesn't give you any ads to deal with longer term ads or anything like that. You can add a Wizards player on Sunday of week 3 to get them for Thursday, and then they play the Saturday, Sunday back-to-back. So that's 1 ad for those 3 games, and then you've got 3 other ads to just muck around. Maybe you open up another streaming spot. Maybe someone gets hurt, and then you've got another roster spot to play with for either streaming or long-term ads. I reckon that's probably the way you go about it, but because the way the schedule's set up, because there is an absence of Thursday, Friday back-to-backs as well, we're really only looking at, we're going to have more ads than we know what to do with. So it's not like about maximizing actual streaming value for this week. Your best bet is getting those Wizards guys in. Then your second best bet is going to be, because that doesn't use an ad for this week. And then your second best bet is just using those other ads daily, or if some other long-term value appears. That's how I see it. So let's have a look at how things go for the week in terms of the early part of the week. The Warriors play only 1 game, and that's on Monday when everyone plays, before Friday. So again, if you are adding a James Wiseman or a John Kuminga because you're hyped about them being good prospects, they don't play until Friday. So again, you're sitting on an empty, and it doesn't matter, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday really, but that is a long time between drinks. Whereas these guys, the Pelicans, the Mavericks, the Hornets, the Blazers, the Hawks, they will play 3 games in the first 4 nights of the week. So that's Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, they all play. That is interesting to note. It also means that the back end of their week is pretty rough. But to end the week, there are only 2 teams that play 3 games in 4 nights. And that's the area we want to focus on. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And it is the Sixers and the Wizards. They play 3 games in 4 nights to end the week. So that's where we stream them in. But these other teams, the Bucks, the Bulls, the Clippers, the Suns, Pacers, Rockets, Magic, Spurs, 1 game in those last 4 nights. So your Patrick Williams, your John Wall, Luke Kennard, Norman Powell, players for the Clippers. Maybe you're looking to replace Cam Johnson because he's hurt with Torrey Craig. Don't, but maybe you are. You're going to get 1 game out of him. He plays 1 game in the last 4 days. The Pacers. Does that mean you need to drop sticks? I know everyone's going to be asking. Stand by your man. I would stand by him a little bit more. I wouldn't drop him at this point. I don't think Miles Turner is really impacting him. I just think Jalen Smith is not a very good player. And if he struggles early, he just completely fades away. And that is a problem, of course. But I would still hold him. I don't think anyone's taking his role. Yeah, the Rockets play 1 game in 4 nights. The Magic, the Spurs. So Zach Collins, if you tried him out, you're not going to really use him much, are you? The Bulls do not play Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. So if you've got a Bulls player, again, back to Patrick Williams, you had him on that Monday, Wednesday. Did you actually use him? And then you have to wait all the way until Sunday. And that is not a great use of that roster spot. Is his upside even high enough to hold through all of that? I don't think so. Let's transition now to weekly leagues. This is a lineup where you set it once a week. There's no massive guys where I look at and go, yeah, that's going to be an awesome ad for this week. Nothing massively stands out. A lot of it's going to be injury related. Now, we know that Mitchell Robinson is out for 7 to 10 days. So his week is done. So, of course, Isaiah Hartenstein, who isn't available everywhere, but he's available some spots. So if Isaiah Hartenstein is available in your league, I cannot implore you enough. This is a guy who already is a top 100 player. You have to add him. And yes, he didn't close the game against the Sixers. That doesn't mean he won't close the next one, and he's going to get over 20 minutes guaranteed. Right? But you can maybe look at Obi Toppin, because they did play for the first time ever.
I don't want to hear any more about Obi-Wan.
Big minutes of Randall and Toppin together, and Tom Thibodeau, it's not like everyone wasn't calling for this. It actually worked, my guy. I couldn't believe what Thibodeau was doing, playing Randall and Toppin together, an 11-man rotation, putting Grimes in the starting lineup. Did someone get in this guy's ear? Did he get threatened with something? Is he getting blackmailed? I don't know what happened. Anyway, Obi Toppin might be an ad. With Siakam maybe unlikely to play, Chris Boucher is a great ad. Preston Chua is a less great ad, but he's also an option. Jalen Duren might return. They got 4 games. Hopefully he gets his 20 minutes back. Marcus Smart hurt his wrist on whatever day it was, Friday. I don't know if he's going to miss time, but Derek White and Malcolm Brogdon become options. Quentin Grimes was pretty bad, grimy, in that first game. Didn't do much, but 4 games as a starter. Maybe he plays 25 minutes a night. Maybe that's 100 minutes. Maybe he scores 40 points and hits 5 threes over the course of the week. That might be enough. It might not be, but it might be enough. And new starting center in Dallas, Dwight Powell. Is he great? No. Is he better than JaVale McGee? Pretty obviously. And again, 4 games, 25 minutes, 100 minutes for the week. It might be enough over a fringe guy playing 3 games. It might be enough to use him. But again, you're looking at Toppin and Hartenstein and Boucher as probably the big ones. But there's nothing that massively stands out to me given how the schedule is pretty even in terms of overall games played for the week. Guys, you want to look at sitting. I'm not starting Kawhi Leonard. They've only got 3 games. He's probably not going to play at all anyway. John Wall, there's a back-to-back and then he probably plays 2 games. You don't want to start him. Jalen McDaniels, Terry Rozier returns on Saturday, and maybe Hayward and maybe Ball are back next week, and that is going to severely limit what Jalen can do. And I believe they only have... they have 4 games actually, but I'd be really cautious about him. Obviously, we're not starting Kyrie. We're definitely not starting Dennis Smith Jr., and we might actually be dropping him after today's game. We'll keep an eye on that. I wouldn't start Isaiah Jackson with only 3 games this week. I probably wouldn't start Jalen Smith as well, to be honest. Max Strus, only 3 games this week as well. Hard to start him when we don't really know what Butler's status is. And then Pat Williams, as I've mentioned his name a million times today. Yeah, probably wouldn't start him with 3 games. For points leagues, these guys are all available in over 50% of leagues. And while I don't look at some of these guys as must roster long-term players, and they have been droppable, when they've got 4 games this week, you can add them and start them. Santi Aldama, not a long-term hold, but there's value to hold him this week. Onyeka Okongwu, probably not a long-term hold, but this week, with 4 games on, you might want to use him. It's 80 minutes of play. The Shark, Bruce Brown Jr.
Baby shark,
Big Larry Nance Jr. Love Larry Nance. In category leagues, we're adding Larry Nance, by the way. I did a little short on that yesterday. Should have mentioned that earlier. We're adding Larry Nance. The minutes trend over Valanciunas is undisputed. Larry Nance could get hurt at any time. I'm all for adding Nance, understanding that it could blow up in my face really quickly. Kevin Love's a nice ad for the week. Tyus Jones. Trey Mann actually has some value because of volume. And amazingly, Mason Plumlee, who's not a bad points league guy, could be an option for us. Your players we sit in points leagues. I don't know what. That's the wrong screen. This is the right screen. Players we sit in points leagues. Aya Dosumu, I think, is not probably worth a start. Marcus Morris is iffy. Max Strus, the Winter Soldier. Kawhi Leonard, John Wall, Jalen McDaniels, Kyrie, and Dennis Smith. Similar names to the category league guys and that guys. We'll do it for me today. Don't forget, follow this podcast, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and on Odyssey. If you're on YouTube, you thumb it up. You leave your comments down below, you subscribe, and you ring that bell. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.